So we recently had the RuneScape Ahead Reveal, and there was a lot of exciting updates planned, with one of them I'm especially excited about being the desert storyline. We are finally going to return to the desert and finish the desert storyline. Even though this is just the desert, this feels like a huge step in progressing the entire RuneScape storyline as a whole, because there are a lot of important plot points to be made, such as Amiska. Amiska ties into a lot of the current story, and being able to go back and finish it respectfully is just perfect. It's truly amazing, and I'm excited for it. Now, what I would like to see in the quests are several things. The first one being Scabaris. Scabaris is a pretty dang important in the story, in that he's essentially the last piece of the puzzle. Where has he been? What happened to him? And what will happen to him? I'd love to see and learn more about Scabaris. 2. Learn why Amiska turned insane. I think it's important to know why Amiska turned insane, because that was the turning point for everything. You know, what did she see on Friendskay that made her become the Devourer? And why is she doing what she is doing? 3rd, souls. What is it that made souls incredibly important? And what's the deal with all that machinery, like with the soul altar and the smoke dungeon? 4. Tumekin and Elidinus. It ain't a desert quest without the parents. I'm just gonna leave it at that. 5. The aftermath. It'd be interesting to see how the desert people move forward in the aftermath of whatever happens. I honestly feel like someone important is gonna die, like Osman. That's just a hunch, but yeah, you know, I'd love to see, how they plan to move past this conflict. Those are the main plot points I'd like to learn more about in these coming quests and Skilling Boss. But some other things I'd love to see is, I would love it if other characters were involved in the final boss fight. I think having other characters with us in that final fight is such an impactful thing. If you were to ask me about which are some of the most memorable boss fights in RuneScape, I'd say it was the dwarfs, the vampires, Dream Enter, and the Void boss fights. Those definitely come to mind. Because here's the thing, those characters matter, and it's much of their story as it is ours. They should be there in our last hurrah against the final boss. I mentioned this in my pirate review video, but it was a bit upsetting Bill Teach wasn't with us in that final fight against Rabbit Jack. Like, he's the dude you got beef with. He should be here too. You know what I'm saying? So it would be cool if somehow Het, Apmekin, Krondis, Osman, or some other characters were with us in some fashion. A simple support role would be fine, but just have them there with us in the fight. Also, please do the introduction of the boss fight justice. Looking at the 4-3 boss fight, it just went straight in. There was no transition, no cutscene, no nothing. I generally had no clue the boss arena was supposed to be a destroyed version of the 4. I didn't know where we were. It was just a mess. And hopefully they learn from 4-3 and even take stuff from the Sanctum, because the Sanctum of Rebirth was great in terms of understanding the fight and what was going on. So yeah, doing the introduction to the boss fight justice and making sure that the player knows what's going on in the fight. One other thing I would like is, this might be a stretch, but I hope that we revisit the Desert Pantheon in the future. Like the storyline is entirely finished, everything's completed, but the characters still have a role to play in the future. I think characters such as Tumekin, Alanis, and Amiska are just way too important to have with their involvement in the overall RuneScape story for just them to be over, gone, done. So yeah, I'd love to see them be involved in future content past the desert storyline. So this was just a short video. I wanted to share my thoughts and some things I'd like to see in these coming desert quests. Share your thoughts in the comments below, of what you would like to see, and any other thoughts that you have. I'd love to hear them. Anyways, my name's ACPL, and I'll be catching you guys in the next video. Peace.